Hey guys, if this is your first time to my channel, hello and welcome. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Emily and today I am bringing you another spooky Sunday. I always feel like one of my eyebrows is like slightly higher than the other eyebrow. Like I always feel like I'm like perpetually like raising one eyebrow. I don't know how to raise just one eyebrow. Like whenever I try to do it, it's just... Am I doing it? Did I finally get it? I feel like I'm getting it. What the hell am I doing? Let's go ahead and jump right on into today's spooky Sunday, shall we? So since it is Sunday, it is probably your weekend. Unless you work somewhere where you have to work weekends. And if that's the case, I am sorry and I hope that you had a very easy and non-stressful workday. But for me and a lot of people, typically we have Sundays off. Now, I don't know about you guys, but the work week can be very stressful and sometimes you just need a little mini vacation on the weekend. But I have been really craving a very long, nice, lengthy, relaxing vacation. So let's go ahead and walk through this scenario. I'm gonna take you with me here. Just trust me. Imagine yourself going to the most peaceful island resort you can think of. Blue waters, golden sands, hot weather, but not too hot, not sweaty hot. Comfortable hot. Lots of delicious food. That all sounds amazing, doesn't it? Well, imagine what it would be like having to go to this airport to get there. I know. Disturbing, right? Well, if you recognize that airport, chances are you are into conspiracies like me, and yes, today we are talking about the Denver International Airport. So what the heck is so weird about the Denver International Airport, and why in the world does it look like that and have those creepy murals and that horse? Who is that horse? Don't worry, I have all the answers for your questions. The Denver International Airport is the largest airport in the United States. It is 33 acres long, which is larger than the city of Manhattan. So that's pretty damn big. The idea to construct this airport was thought up by people in 1993. Now what's kind of weird about this is that there was already a Denver International Airport that was just 25 miles away from where they wanted to move the new airport, and it was totally fine. Nothing was wrong with it. No one was complaining about the Denver International Airport, but for some reason they still decided to tear that one down and make a new one 25 miles away. Well, of course, this is going to cost a lot of money. And where does this money come from? A lot of taxpayers' hard-earned bills. So of course, Colorado taxpayers were upset and protested this and didn't want this to happen because there was nothing wrong with the old airport. But of course, the government won in this scenario and $5 billion went into this airport. Yeah, 5 billion with a B. I can't even fathom how much money that is. I'll never see that much money in my life. I don't even, my brain doesn't even comprehend that kind of money. That's insane. It's absurd. That is so much freaking money going into one airport. And constructing this airport put them $2 billion over budget. That's so much freaking money going into an airport. It's absolutely insane, especially because it was an airport that already existed and that was doing a-okay on its own. The airport finally finished construction in 1996, and it was 16 months behind schedule due to the protesting taxpayers. The Denver International Airport claims that all the money went into this underground automatic baggage claim system. So basically the idea of the automated baggage claim situation that they have happening there is that there is a tunnel underground that goes from each end of the airport, and the baggage gets taken underneath the airport, gets shipped nicely and smoothly underneath the airport, and gets popped back up where all the airplanes are. This way no one has to deal with carrying their baggage around, it getting stolen, and it makes it easier on the people working on the plane to be able to load all the baggage into the plane. So it makes sense, right? Well, not really, because this plan completely flopped. Now they did make this automated baggage system and it does exist to this day, but it was having all sorts of glitches and malfunctions. I mean, it would literally throw your baggage from the little train cart that it was in off onto the side of the tunnel. There was even instances where it mangled and essentially destroyed people's belongings and baggage, and that is definitely less than ideal, especially if $2 billion extra went into this automated baggage system. So it kind of sucks that it flopped, and that is a huge waste of taxpayers' hard-earned dollars. Or is it? Because there may be other things going on underneath the airport. Now, when the airport was first being constructed, they actually constructed 5 different buildings, and that was going to be the airport. Apparently, there was something wrong with the buildings. They were built the wrong way. They weren't up to par. I don't know what the situation was, but somehow they built these 5 buildings and then ended up not wanting them. Instead of finding a different way to use them, even though they weren't necessarily up to par to the standards of the people who were building them, or, I don't know, destroying them, these people decided to put the 5 buildings underground. You heard me right. There are 5 buildings underground underneath the Denver International Airport, and they go 15 stories deep. Even the construction workers who worked on putting the buildings underground were saying how freaking weird it was and how sketchy it was, and that they had never done anything like this before, and a lot of them have come out and said that they haven't done anything like this since. So it's really odd to put 5 buildings underground, especially when most people just, you know, take a wrecking ball to them, or use them still even though they're not 100% perfect, or find a different way to repurpose them. But nope, they just popped them underground. So no one really knows what that's all about. So I'm sure you guys have all been to airports before, and I'm sure you know, but there is sculptures and paintings and just artwork to give the airport a little bit of life and give it a little bit of a homey vibe, if you will, because airports are a very scary place and people have a lot of anxiety when it comes to riding planes and being in airports in general, which I can totally understand. So they try and make it a little bit more homey by adding some more homey decor, fancy chairs, sculptures of a friendly dog, your local Starbucks that charges $5 a drink. You know what I'm saying here. They try and make it as homey and as comfortable as they can. Well, the Denver International Airport seems to have a very different idea of what most people would consider comfortable decor. Throughout the airport, there are weird murals all over. This is a very famous, popular one that everyone seems to have 1.5 million questions about, and for a good reason. As you can see here, you can see a soldier stabbing into a dove, which is the international symbol of peace. So this dude is literally just killing peace, essentially. He has a gas mask on, and it seems that he has Nazi attire. Now that's pretty spooky looking in my opinion, but if you look at the people in the corner of the mural, it gets a little bit spookier. Not only is there this scary Nazi man with a gas mask on his face stabbing into our international symbol of peace, the dove, there is also mothers holding dead infants and children who are sleeping, or who presumably might be just dead children, which a lot of people do think that that's what this is saying. So, you know, typically when I think of peaceful, I think of like a painting of a beach or a painting of seashells, or, you know, just give me a Bob Ross painting. Those are the most peaceful paintings you'll basically ever see. But this is not really my idea of peaceful and comforting and welcoming decor, especially when I'm in an airport where I already have anxiety and I'm already having kind of a rough time. I don't want to turn around and see this mural of this situation here. Not to mention, there is many more murals that kind of follow this same storyline here, and some of them are pretty creepy as well. We have another mural here which is very reminiscent of the one I just showed you, and as you can see, there are children literally in coffins, and there are children what seems to be putting animals into these glass boxes, and there's just a very strange kind of dark vibe about this mural. Now, what I think this mural is about is preserving Mother Nature from people and from bad people and toxins and chemicals and whatnot. I think this is all just a really messed up metaphor for basically preserving Mother Nature. As you can see, the kids do have the animals in these transparent boxes, possibly meaning that they are going to preserve them for later and keep Mother Nature strong and going on. And maybe the reason why they're using children is because children are the future and they want everyone to progress and move forward with trying to preserve Mother Nature with the newer generations. So I guess that makes sense, but it's a really weird way to represent that topic. And why is it in an airport? Like, I don't care if your art is abstract. You do you. This is cool art, don't get me wrong, but why the heck is it in an airport? Now, the murals themselves are very strange, but there is so much more going on in this airport that makes it even weirder. There are legit gargoyle statues hanging out at the airport, just chilling up there right by the ceiling. I mean, I guess gargoyles have to travel too, but don't they have wings? I mean, why are you in an airport, dude? This is so creepy. Honestly, if I was in an airport, I would literally freak out seeing this, especially if I'm a child, and especially if I'm already nervous. I don't understand what the purpose of this freaking gargoyle is other than to watch over us and scare us. So whatever that's about, I have no idea, but I want no part in it, and I don't understand why it's there. If that wasn't already enough for you guys, there is a little mural in the ground in the Denver International Airport. And the mural is of a mining cart that says the words AG/AU. And I guess that those are the periodic names for gold and silver. And that would make sense because it's in a little mining cart. But why is that at an airport? But I guess that's not too weird, right? Well, one of the men who actually founded the Denver International Airport just so happens to be the man who discovered Australian antigen. And if you've never heard of that before, you are lucky because it's very scary, but I am here to inform you. It is essentially a biochemical that can be used in biological warfare. So it's basically a chemical that can mess you up pretty badly and be used as a weapon. And this man founded it, and I guess the little acronym name for it is AGAU. In the scientific community, it is known as that, and in any other circumstance, I wouldn't really think that it's that weird that this little mural in the airport happens to say AGAU, and there just so happens to be a biochemical that is also called AGAU, but the connecting factor here is that the man who literally discovered this biochemical that can be used in biological warfare and biochemical warfare. So scary, I don't even want to think about that, but it's really strange that he discovered this and there just so happens to be a mural of what seems to be this chemical that can kill everyone. So yeah, that's a little weird if you ask me. And yet again, I'm going to ask this a million times in this video, but why the hell is this in an airport? What is that? So I'm sure you think that this is the end of all the creepy architecture that is in the Denver International Airport. But you are wrong. There's a very creepy thing that people have discovered from looking at the airport from an aerial view. Do you see anything weird about the way this looks from an aerial view? This is the entire airport, and is there anything that looks familiar to you about the shape of it? Because when I first saw this picture, I saw it. There are some people who think that the shape of the airport is in the shape of a swastika. Do you think that it looks like a swastika? Because a lot of people do, and honestly, I can see it. Now, you know, I really doubt they made their airport in the shape of a swastika, but you really never know, especially with the kind of Nazi symbolism. But it could all just be coincidence, right? I mean, why would they design the airport to look like a swastika? When I first heard this theory, I thought, yeah, right? There's no way that they designed their airport to look like a frickin' swastika. That is absolutely absurd. But when you think about it and you think about architecture, English, right. Think about architecture, they think of everything when they are designing these buildings and these airports and whatever they might be designing. They literally think of every possible scenario. That is their job, to think of everything that could possibly happen, and they double check that shit like no other, okay? If this is a swastika, that was not done by accident, because they know exactly what they were building, they know what it looks like, they know the shape of it, they know what it's going to look like from an aerial view before it's even built. So, if that is a swastika, that was put there intentionally. And if it's not, then we're all just crazy conspiracy theorists, and it's as simple as that. So I bet you thought it stopped there, didn't you? It didn't. One of the more famous, well-known things that exist in the Denver International Airport is a plaque that sits on top of a time capsule. This time capsule was buried in the Denver International Airport in 1994, and it is meant to be opened in 2094, so 100 years after it was buried. So, that's not that weird. I mean, people do that all the time. It's not weird at all. But what is weird is what's on the freaking plaque. Here is the alleged plaque. And it doesn't really look that weird at first, but really focus in on it. Do you see that little symbol right there? That is a symbol that is associated with the Freemasons, which is a secret society. Now, kind of strange, but not that weird, right? Well, if you look at the text right here, you will see that on this mural it says, New World Airport. What is the New World Airport? I have no idea, and I've never heard of that. And a lot of other people haven't heard of that. And I don't think anyone has heard of the New World Airport. Is that a society? Is that a group? It seems like it's a group. What the heck is happening here? And why is it so similar to New World Order? I have no idea. But this little plaque here is a huge part of the conspiracy and is very well known amongst people who are familiar with this airport. The main idea that people theorize about this whole situation here, the murals, the underground tunnel, the 15 stories underground, the weird imagery, the New World Airport Association, a chemical that could be used in biological warfare. People think that this might be a place for the government to possibly store people in if anything bad were to happen to the Earth. If we run into an apocalyptic situation, where the heck are all the important people gonna go? Well, it would be real convenient to have an underground tunnel that could lead you to a very large facility. And after watching this far, I'm sure you know by now, but this is a very, very large facility, larger than the city of Manhattan, that also happens to have an underground tunnel and 15 stories underground. This would be the perfect place to put important people into if anything catastrophic were to happen to the world. So people think that this might possibly be a place for the important politicians to go, the president, the higher ups, the rich people, basically a safe haven for these VIPs to go if anything were to happen to our Earth. And this makes perfect sense because what do you think the New World Airport Commission probably is? This is probably a secret area that is hiding in plain sight for all of these important people to go to if they are basically at their last resort. Now, another crazy conspiracy that people have about the Denver International Airport is that it might possibly be a FEMA camp. So essentially, a concentration camp, which is awful and horrifying, and I do not like to believe that, and personally I don't believe that. So people think that basically this might be a place to put people into once the government overthrows everyone, and the New World Order is put into commission, which would kind of correlate to the New World Airport Commission. Names are extremely similar, and it seems like they might be up to the same type of thing. People draw correlations between the names and just the weird imagery and stuff that's going on in the airport, and the Freemasonry symbol, which basically symbolizes a secret society. Another widely known conspiracy about the tunnels underneath of the Denver International Airport is that possibly it might connect to Washington, D.C. I mean, we know that the president has his own bunker underground and that there is a system of tunnels underneath Washington, D.C. and underneath the White House. Why wouldn't it connect to this giant facility that seems to have 15 stories underground with probably everything you would ever need in a catastrophic or just possibly threatening situation? This would be the perfect place for the president to go, and it's kind of convenient that Washington, D.C. has all these underground tunnels and these underground bunkers, and this airport happens to also have the same thing. But people really speculate that because the White House happens to have these and the Denver International Airport has these, that there might just be something going on. You know, they might just happen to connect. So lastly, but certainly not least, let's go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room. Well, not really the elephant, more so the horse. If you have been to the Denver International Airport before, then you know what I'm talking about. That's right. I'm talking about Lucifer. Lucifer is the name of a giant horse statue that sits right outside of the Denver International Airport and greets civilians and planes and cars, aliens, whoever it might be that's passing by. Greets all of them and welcomes them to the airport. Now, horses are not that scary, right? Well, Lucifer is 32 feet tall, and he is also 9,000 pounds. Now, I didn't really get a good idea on how freaking gigantic Lucifer is until I saw this photo. And as you can see, these little lights down here at the bottom of the picture are the building lights. So that's essentially where the buildings are in the airport. And as you can see, Lucifer towers over everything. He's bigger than houses. He's probably like 10 houses tall, okay? That horse is freaking gigantic, and he's not the most friendly looking horse in the world if you ask me. He is no Mr. Ed. So another aspect about Lucifer that adds to his charm, when you flash a light at his eyes or car lights drive in front of him or any light just gets flashed in his eyeballs, they turn red. They literally glow bright red in the dark. That's not creepy or demonic at all. Nope. Totally normal. Happens to all horses, right? And if good old Lucifer didn't sound scary enough already, during his construction, He literally killed his owner. Luis Jimenez was the man who constructed and sculpted Lucifer, and during the final days of his construction, there was an accident where Lucifer fell over and killed and crushed Luis. So, Lucifer is a very disobedient horse, if you ask me. But obviously, this is not the most comforting thing you want to see when you are going to an airport or when you are flying in from another airport. I don't understand the purpose of Lucifer. I don't understand why there is a giant demonic-looking horse that greets you when you come to this airport. I don't understand anything that's going on in this airport. People think that Lucifer might even be a representation of one of the 4 horses of the apocalypse, which would make sense because if this is an apocalyptic bunker for very important people and politicians and whatnot, it would make sense that they would put this here. So, yeah, that was a lot to take in, and honestly, I feel just exhausted and very confused after telling you guys all of that. But that is going to be wrapping up this week's Spooky Sunday. I literally feel like I am just empty now after thinking about all of that at once, and I don't know what's going on there, but there's obviously something weird going on there, okay? Even if you're not into conspiracies, you have to admit there is something strange going on at the Denver International Airport. But that's going to be it for me. I'm going to go cuddle up in a blanket and eat some pizza and try to get in a better mindset here and not be so creeped out by these freaking conspiracies. But if you like Spooky Sunday, I do hope that you consider subscribing. I am putting out a spooky video every single week, and I have all sorts of makeup goodness on this channel during the rest of the week. So if you like spooky stuff and conspiracies, and you also happen to like makeup, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. I hope you are having an absolutely amazing day wherever you are, and thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time. Bye!